The question of whether the Codex Sinaiticus is a forgery or not may never be satisfactorily resolved. If it is a forgery, then all the murky questions about its origin can simply be dismissed, and the Codex itself removed from scholarly consideration. If it is authentic, then we must live with the fact that its provenance can only be firmly established to the middle of the 19th century. Everything else resides within the realm of scholarly guesswork and debate. Having said this, modern scholars insist that the Codex was written sometime in the 4th century AD. Why? The answer is found in one word: paleography. The Codex Sinaiticus project, like most modern scholars, date the Codex to the 4th century AD and do so based upon paleographical analysis. What does it mean that an analysis of handwriting allows the experts to date the book to a specific century well over 1,000 years ago? How was the date derived, and how reliable is it? Paleographical analysis compares the handwriting of an undated document with the handwriting of other documents that are assumed to have verified dates. Matches with dated documents provide a date for the new document. In order to make a comparative analysis, scholars must first establish a chronology of known manuscripts and their handwriting. Our friend Konstantin Tischendorf compiled the first catalog of manuscripts. Others have compiled additional catalogs providing, as is assumed, a more than ample repository for comparison. Two obvious questions immediately arise. First, how were the documents in the catalogs dated? And how were their dates verified? It is unfortunate, but scholars have only indirect means for determining the age of undated documents. Furthermore, the assigning of dates through these indirect methodologies, such as paleography, cannot be independently verified. To do so, a scholar would have to go back in time to visit the copyist, who would presumably authenticate his work. In fact, paleography is generally used only for undated documents when direct authentication is impossible. Otherwise, paleography is unnecessary. This is a difficult problem for scholars. Without the ability to independently verify paleography and other forms of indirectly assigning dates to documents, these means cannot be considered reliable. Yet, they exist precisely because there is no other way to date certain documents. As Dr. Brent Nongbre of Macquarie University in Sydney, Australia explained, paleography is used when no other method of dating is available. Dr. Nongbre also noted that paleography is not to be considered reliable. William M. Schniedewind of UCLA was even harsher in his assessment of paleography, to the point of denying it the status of a science and accusing practitioners of circular reasoning. The dating of the Codex Sinaiticus by paleographical analysis is a good example of the flaws of this methodology. Codex Sinaiticus was originally assigned a 4th century date through a handwriting comparison with another manuscript, the Viennese Dioscorides. Scholars believe the date for the Dioscorides is firmly established, forming a solid basis for dating the Codex Sinaiticus. Sir Frederick George Kenyon, British paleographer and one-time president of the British Academy, describes the process for dating Sinaiticus and the other three oldest copies of the New Testament canon. To make a long story short, we can draw the following conclusions. All of these conclusions by Kenyon are essentially unverifiable conjecture with no demonstrative evidence to rely upon, as Kenyon himself admitted. In truth, the dating of Sinaiticus, as well as the other early manuscripts of the New Testament, relies wholly upon the dating of the Dioscorides of Vienna. Is this manuscript as firmly dated as scholars allege?